In our latest Tesla video, we explored an exciting opportunity to buy into the electric car giant. However, with Tesla's recent pullback, the big question on everybody's minds is whether it's time to take action and buy now or wait for confirmation of an uptrend. Join us right here as we break it down. All right, guys, Tesla is Tesla, Elon is Elon. We seemingly never know what we're going to get. Tesla lowered prices, 6 times, I think, since the first of the year, and I see they raised prices on the Model X recently. What is the strategy here? On the surface, it seems like profits will be affected, but the bigger picture might be worth exploring. What do you guys think?
Yeah, right. Profit was definitely affected. We saw that with the last report. And I think originally the price decreases were kind of seen as reactionary or defensive for the market because kind of sales have kind of been slowing a little bit for cars in general. But like you say, this is Elon Musk and there is a method to the madness. Some comments he made pretty recently suggest that they're looking to sell volume and secure market share versus margin. And I think that's a good play for the long term.
Yeah, and as I've mentioned before, Lacey, when we've talked about Tesla, investors seem to view Tesla stock as a proxy for Elon Musk himself and everything that comes with that. And I think to his credit, Elon kind of leans into that. And in this case, I think he knows what he's doing, and he understands that his window is still pretty wide open as far as how much market share Tesla has an opportunity to grab right now. And so the moves he's making just lean into that, and he's trying to make sure he captures that.
Great, Thomas, you briefly touched on this, but as you said, Elon mentioned the other day, this might be the real motive here. He said, we've taken a view that pushing for higher volumes and a larger fleet is the right choice here versus a lower volume and a higher margin. Does it seem like the market share is more important than the profit for now? Chris, what do you think on that?
Oh, I absolutely think it has to be. I mean, this is a market-based decision, as Thomas was saying. I mean, electric cars are going to have to become more affordable if they're going to have mass adoption. And this is especially true if we're getting into a year or 2 year period where credit conditions are going to get very tight. The way I think Elon Musk is looking at it is that the overall pie of consumers is getting smaller in terms of who's going to be able to buy an EV in the next year or two. And so at least temporarily, he wants to make sure that he can capture more slices of that pie, because it's going to make it tougher for other manufacturers to gain market share if he's able to get those customers locked in now.
Can you elaborate on that last part for me? How does it make it tougher? In a few years, consumers will have more EV options than ever before, right?
Right. But I would say, here's where you have to remember that these are still automobile purchases. So once someone makes the purchase, they're not likely to be in the market for another vehicle for several years. And again, that makes that pie of available buyers smaller. Does that make sense?
Yep, it does. Thank you.
All right. I want to add kind of to what Chris was saying. And it is about getting market share and expanding sales of cars. Brand loyalty has a lot to do with it as well. You get that market share now, you can expect them to buy more cars later. But I think that this is really a dual-pronged story. You want to sell cars and gain market share, but Elon also wants to sell electricity. Think about Tesla charging stations. They're popping up everywhere. That's going to be a cash cow. All of those cars are going to need to be charged. And once you sell the car, that's revenue's done. You've got the car. You've sold the car. But you can sell electricity forever. And I think that's what the play is.
All right, Thomas, at the time that we're recording this video, Tesla is racing back to 150 per share. Technically, is this matter of just picking a spot to jump in, or is it better to wait for it to snap back or form a base?
I think the market is forming a base now. And you have to remember that the market expectations for Tesla are pretty wide. Some people value the company like a car company, and it's incredibly overvalued for a car company. some people price in the Musk factor, which is going to take Tesla, the Boring Company, and SpaceX to Mars and build a city. All right. So in between that is the real value of the company. So that gives a pretty wide, pretty large movements in the market for when it is forming a base. So I think the stock hit a bottom at the first of the year. It bounced off that bottom, but now it's kind of moving back to retest for support. I think that that support level is near 120. I think I need to look at my chart, but I think if the stock were to go down to that level and bounce, it would become a good buy again. I would not expect to see it fall any farther than that.
Okay, so the knock on Tesla in the past has been its valuation. The PE was always too high for some investors. And while the stock's PE is in the mid 40s, more than double the NASDAQ's composite average, it looks reasonable based on its growth rate. Would you agree with that, Chris?
It's always hard to value Tesla, and Thomas was alluding to that, because Tesla is more than just a car company. We're talking about Elon Musk, and he's working on other technologies that could be game-changing technologies. As Thomas was saying, I mean, you have to consider all of those other businesses. One day Tesla's could be driving through boring tunnels on Mars, which are delivered by SpaceX. And I don't know how realistic that is. Maybe my imagination is just not that big right now, but that's what goes into Tesla stock, is a lot of other things other than it being a car company. Because as Thomas said, as a car company, yeah, it's completely overvalued. But with everything else factored in, maybe not so much. The Tesla to me has always been a stock, at least for as long as I've been following it. It has been a stock that's kind of defied a lot of expectations for it, because again, it's just the people that are the true believers and they will tend to just buy the stock no matter what. So, maybe that's not a great answer, but that's the answer I have.
Elon's very charismatic. People believe in him, and his dream is to go to Mars. And the more that I learn about him and read about his companies, the more I see his different projects kind of all tying into that dream of going to Mars. Like Chris said, there's so much other technology besides cars and Tesla. They've got the robot, they've got solar. I mean, they've got some other things going on. Tesla is going to be a source of shareholder returns, I think, for many decades.
All right, so the takeaway here is that while Tesla's stock is still below its all-time high, the company's scale and profitability make it poised to bounce back. Is there anything else you want to add here, Chris or Thomas?
I don't think so. We pretty much
covered it all.
All right, thanks for your insights today. As always, we'll be keeping a close eye on Tesla and reporting back. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.